Hi, my name is Alicia Shapiro with AInews.com, and today I'm here with Ori Goshen from AI21 Labs. Ori, could you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Sure. I'm Ori. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of AI21. We're a frontier AI models and AI systems company based in Tel Aviv. We started the company back in 2017. So we were one of the earlier players in this
Nice.
space. We were actually one of the first ones to train large language models.
Okay.
And we're very proud to be here at HumanX and also announce a new product of ours, which is really exciting. It's a
Yeah.
platform for developers that we built, and very excited to be here and announce it today.
Yeah, I was just going to say unveiled that you have the very first system that guarantees business outcomes. So, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, let's speak about the gap. We're seeing this AI craze, so many very charismatic demos,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Lots of POCs, in the enterprise. Of course, on the consumer side, adoption is on the rise. I mean, it's incredible. Every person I know is actually using these tools almost on a daily or weekly basis. But on the enterprise, there are different challenges.
Mhm.
And as I said, while we're seeing a lot of POCs and demos, there's still a challenge to take them to production. And the number one challenge is trust. How can we trust these systems?
Mhm.
How can we go beyond the phase where they're opaque and very challenging to interpret? If we look at the current state of things, of where we stand, developers basically have two options. They can either use language models or the latest reasoning models under an agentic framework.
Mhm.
And this is very flexible and easy, like you prompt it. And that's the magic of it,
Mhm.
but it produces unpredictable, unreliable results.
Yeah.
And we like to call it prompt and pray.
Yeah.
What developers are doing to go to work around that is they start kind of engineer, create more control. This is called static chain. So they
Mhm.
basically create these checkpoints where LLMs are called along the way. Now, this is where it gets more complicated because these chains are very rigid and brittle, and they're very hard to scale
Okay.
because then comes the next use case, and you need to start engineer it all over again, or the use case slightly changes and you need to engineer it over again. And so we realized that we need to go beyond using large language models or large reasoning models or static chains. We need to find a way for developers to create truly reliable solutions at scale. And that's what Maestro, the new product we launched, is all about.
Exciting.
It is
Mhm.
exciting. We are very excited about it. And Maestro is basically, you can think about it as an AI planning and orchestration system that is designed to solve complex tasks in the enterprise. That's what it's about.
That's amazing. Have you had any success stories or interesting feedback from that so far?
Yeah, we're working closely with a few design partners. We just opened access in private preview mode.
Mhm.
So providing early access for developers that can sign up, and we'll gradually roll it out. But yeah, absolutely. We're seeing from our early experience, we're seeing how effective it is. And just the way the interface is built, this is a tool for developers. Just the way it's built, it's not just about setting a prompt
Yeah.
as an input. You can, as a developer, you can actually specify specific requirements, things that the system has to get right. For example, you know some things, some requirements over the output. You know what the style should be like, some requirements over the content itself, that it should include certain aspects, and
Mhm.
so on and so forth. And now people are describing it in the prompt.
Okay.
But then this is basically, you can track it. You
Mhm.
can track each element. So now the interface we introduce with Maestro is developers can explicitly specify their requirements.
Okay.
And when the output comes, it's just the final answer. It shows every requirement, if and how it was met. And yeah, it's very exciting. And also it shows an execution graph, what really happened behind the scenes, because it operates in a mode where it produces an explicit plan
Mhm.
versus, if you compare it to the current state, where people are using reasoning models. Reasoning models are very impressive, but they basically generate chains of tokens, which again may be useful. But if you're an enterprise and you want to debug and trace exactly the flow of what happens, that's not good enough. You need an explicit execution graph that you can trace back and see what happened behind the scenes.
And I know for enterprises, data security and privacy is huge. How do you address that?
That's a great question. From the get-go, we architected both our models and systems to be deployable on what called private deployment, on the customer infrastructure. It could be on-prem or virtual private cloud. So even if a customer is on the cloud, but prefer to run its own infrastructure, not basically upload any sensitive data to a third-party service or even a first-party service from various reasons. I think it's very clear that security is a concern, privacy is a concern. So a lot of customers we're seeing are preferring to host the models and the systems within their premises or within their infrastructure. And we architected the system to support that.
And as AI continues to evolve, what trends or challenges do you see happening in the world of enterprise AI?
Yeah, obviously, historically, I think since ChatGPT came out, everybody started to experiment. We went from sporadic experimentation to massive experimentation. We're still on the experimentation phase, but I think we're now shifting towards production deployments. We are still in the sporadic production deployment phase, but I think in 2 years from now, we'll move into mass production deployment. And that's what I am mostly excited about and what we want to enable as a company. We want to help organizations to deeply embed AI capabilities in a massive scale.
Yeah. And that's great for those that doesn't have the technology in-house. They can just use your system and
Exactly.
be able to still use AI securely and efficiently.
Exactly. Exactly. Because a lot of these complexities right now are being basically addressed by developers that need to work around and find ways to set the right parameters for each model and for each use case. And that's very cumbersome. And we're trying to abstract away a lot of these complexities. So these AI builders could focus on the applications and what they're trying to achieve rather than all the technicalities behind the scenes.
That's so important. And then I always like to ask, what's one piece of advice that you'd give to someone just starting out in the world of AI?
I constantly think about that there is no playbook in the era we operate. Of course, there's always room to learn from past experience, but this is quite unprecedented, both the pace and the capabilities that we, as an industry, we explore and discover. So I think there should be continuously thinking about the underlying assumptions because this is such a fast moving industry and should really think about things from first principles versus, you know, we need to get this to get that. I think that the rules of how the world operates, especially in our industry, are constantly changing.
Yeah.
And my piece of advice would be take these playbooks with a grain of salt, think from first principles, and be imaginative. I think even with the current technology, I think we're at a point where there's so much to exploit, so many things to discover and create at this point in time. So it's really exciting times and just fulfill your dreams and the rest will follow.
Exactly. That's great. Thank you for joining us. And if you'd like to give your website out.
Thank you. We're AI21.com. And if you'd like to sign up for early access, it's AI21.com/maestro. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.